This is Hannah and Cailin, back again with Double Talk. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Cailin.
Meet Alex Dvorak, a writer, director, and actress whose autobiographical dark comedy Bad Survivor, inspired by her first day in cancer remission at 19, is an official selection at Slamdance 2025. Join us as we dive into Alex's creative process, exploring how she transforms pain into purpose, and how her unique blend of wit and authenticity shapes powerful stories of survivorship and identity.
Your film, Bad Survivor, centers on your remission experience, your first day of remission more specifically. But I think that for people watching this interview, they need to know what you've had to overcome to get to where you are today. Could you tell us as much as you're comfortable about your diagnosis and your treatment experience?
Sure. Yeah, I'm a pretty open book at this point. So I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was 19. So I was a sophomore in college. I grew up on the East Coast, but I was in college at LMU here in LA. And so it was my sophomore year. It was Thanksgiving break. I got diagnosed with a large tumor in my chest, and then that was that on school. So I had to drop out and move back home with my parents and do treatment full time. So I did surgeries and chemo and radiation and all of that. And it was a really interesting experience in that I was a teenager, but I was being treated at a children's hospital. So I was with all these toddlers and I was the only teen on my floor. And then when I was moved to radiation, I was the only teenager with being treated with the elderly. So a big part of my storytelling is about what it's like to be a young adult in treatment in a way that no one really understands why you're there or what you're doing there. And this odd time when you're really coming of age and finding your voice and your independence. But a lot of that can be obviously taken away with a cancer diagnosis.
How do you think your experience hitting you at the time of your life that it did influenced the way that you overcame it?
And your identity, really.
And yeah, the way that you carry it with you.
That is such an interesting and astute question because you're right. At 19, I very much felt independent and strong and empowered. And I moved across the country to LA and I had finally sort of found my people and my place in life. And my friends were all creatives and we were just going to take the world by storm. And then you're just pulled back. You're pulled back. You're back at home with your family, which thank God I have amazing parents and family to go back to. But it is really demoralizing, right? When you've taken ownership of your life and then you need help to be carried to the bathroom. All of a sudden you're like a little kid again and you're being overprotected by, thank God again, loving family. But it's really difficult. And I think that's why in my storytelling, a lot of times I focus on the survivorship aspect because I find it most interesting to me. How do you sort of come of age again? How do you're told you're cancer free, luckily, if you are, and then now what, right? Now sort of all that independence has been taken away. So how do you restart life, especially when everyone around you treats you really differently because you look really differently and you've been through all of these intense things and you know way too much about life and death, but you're still young. So if you're lucky, you're going to have this super long life, but you have a lot of wisdom to carry and a lot of scary things to carry. And so it's such an all-encompassing question and answer because it's so hard to describe how that changes your life and your perspective, but it really changes absolutely everything. And when I was able to get into a good place after several years of remission and working on myself mentally and physically and emotionally, I was able to settle into this deep feeling of gratitude for being alive. So I just feel this sense all the time, to be honest. I'm still sort of looking around and I'm like, oh, I'm in a bonus life. I just sort of get this extra life, this little cheat code. I was supposed to die, but I didn't. And so now everything is really cool and new and fresh. And I'm sort of just able to appreciate really tiny things, just being here, having this incredible conversation. This isn't tiny, but having this incredible conversation, going to buy flowers and putting them in a vase. There's just little beauty and magical moments every day in life that I don't think I would necessarily be experiencing had I not had a near death experience, if that makes sense.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but to see somebody literally like grab their second shot at life by the horns, it's like, it's inspiring to even see and hear you discuss. So it's like one of those things, yeah, like you don't want it to happen to anybody, but look what you've done with it. And you've made art, you've made a film, you're working on a book. It's really inspiring to see.
Tell me about the title Bad Survivor, because immediately I'm like,
what does that mean?
What does that mean? I'm interested in that. Tell us what Bad Survivor means to you.
I love the title Bad Survivor because it just immediately encompasses how I always felt as a cancer survivor. Coming out of treatment, wasn't the girl who was talking about my experience. I was not in any way, shape, or form inspiring. I was really messed up and in a really dark place. And I wasn't raising millions of dollars for fundraisers, though that would have been so cool. I wasn't wearing the cancer ribbon t-shirt. The hottest guy in school wasn't falling in love with me because of my cancer story. Like, I just was a terrible survivor, terrible. And that is just my favorite part of all of it. Now looking back, having maybe a little more of a grip on life now, I love the fact that it was super messy and not normal. And I think perhaps my expectation of what my cancer journey as a young person and survivorship was maybe supposed to look like came from depictions that I had seen on screen. Like you mentioned earlier, I'd seen really maybe over romanticized versions of it. You know, I'm obsessed with A Walk to Remember. That's like a movie I grew up on. I still love it. But I really thought like, oh my God, I got cancer as a teenager, just like Mandy Moore in the movie. Like, now Shane West will fall in love with me. It's just not what happened. Little kids like ran away when they saw me on the street because I was bald and weird. And it's just, thank God now looking back, so many of those tiny moments I find hilarious. So that's what Bad Survivor is. She is a girl, a young adult, just fresh out of treatment, struggling in life, struggling to figure out what life means, how she's going to relate to anyone her age, when really she wants to like maybe lose her virginity and go to parties and pass her finals. But she has to get scans and deal with all of these life and death decisions at the same time.
Your focus on remission is unique because it's really not, I guess, just because of the lack of the different depictions on the same level as the other side of it before overcoming, that makes it feel like, I don't know what that would feel like. Was the feeling, I'm in remission, I've overcome it, this is what I've been waiting for, was it like what you expected?
Not even a little bit. So in the short film Bad Survivor that I made, and in real life, my oncologist was like, they told me I was cancer free. They showed me the scans. They showed me like the tumor was gone. I was just like pretty confused and kind of looking around. And the doctor at one point was like, Alex, this is the part where you're happy. Like, this is the part where you're supposed to be happy. And I was like, I'm supposed to be happy? Like, I didn't feel happy and I didn't feel well. And my body wasn't telling me I'm okay. So like, what do you mean I'm okay? But I haven't been okay for a long time. And, you know, you've been told in treatment to really be hyper analyzing your symptoms. You know, you come in every day and you tell them like, this is wrong, you know, so that they can be on it. And you're watching everything and feeling everything like a hawk. And then one day they're like, you're good, go home, go. What do you mean? Don't you want to go live life? And you're like, what life? My life is here. My life is in the hospital. My life is here with you, doctor. And in the world of Bad Survivor, we've been sort of framing it as like her doctors break up with her and they're kind of like, please go. And obviously, like I mentioned before, like now looking back, hilarious. At the time, not hilarious, like really, really scary. I feel like we as humans can get used to all sorts of chaos if it's normal. And when you're in the hospital for a long time and you're in cancer treatment, that chaos becomes your normal daily routine. It's horrific, but it becomes normal. And when it's taken away and they're like, well, just trust, what do you mean? Just trust your body and you're fine. Trust us. Okay. Like, I believe the science, of course. I can see the scan. I'm a smart girl. I get it. But I definitely had a hard time in a weird way. I don't know if it's weird to admit, but like a really hard time accepting that I was okay. And it definitely took me at least a year or two before I was like, maybe they're right. Like, maybe I am actually going to live like a long life. Like, maybe it's not going to come back. I was really on the defensive, ready if I go into, you know, remission in? Then I go back into treatment, like I whisper it as if it's going to hear me. It's not. I'm fine. But it's such a mental mind game when you've had to play mind games to survive in treatment, and then those mind games have to go away and you've been in survival mode. And remission for me really was having to face the trauma I'd gone through. Like now I kind of had to go through the trauma because I was just surviving before. So yeah, remission I find fascinating. I think I've like unlocked like all the insane nuances of remission. I haven't seen that on screen before, and that's like a big part of why me and my team have like really dived into this specific moment in treatment. And obviously I'm focused on like the young person's survival, but it really is like a universal thing that unfortunately has touched a lot of our lives. Cancer has, right? I'm just very interested in further exploring what happens when the doctors say you're okay and the phone calls and the care packages have stopped, but you are alone in your room and you sort of have to figure out what's next.
Speaking of overcoming this trauma, especially at a young age and when you're just getting started with your life, I know that wit is an important part of your storytelling. Tell us about your relationship with humor, especially as it relates to getting through difficult times. And then how do you put that into a film, especially when you're grappling with these big, complicated emotions you were describing? How do you put all the parts of your experience into especially a short film?
Brilliant question. The humor feels really, really important to me. I feel like dark humor, is just sort of how I walk about life. So it feels natural and makes sense to me. But I feel like humor in all storytelling for me helps me get to deeper emotions easier, if that makes sense. If I'm turning on a movie and it's incredibly melodramatic and depressing, I might actually like struggle to get through it. I'm more of a lighthearted, naturally kind of person. But when something is funny and then it hits you with a real emotion, that's when I'm crying at the movie. So humor just felt like a really, really natural step for me, especially in Bad Survivor. And I do think maybe humor tied to like a childhood cancer could be unexpected, maybe by those who haven't been through it. But it's really interesting because us in our shitty little cancer club, as we call it, when we're at a party and I meet a total stranger and we share with each other that we're cancer survivors, like we end up in the corner of the party talking and whispering alone about all the hilarious things people say to us that we kind of don't feel comfortable saying to other people, right? Like we lean in and we have a really good sense of humor about it. And I just sort of thought to myself, like, how funny or interesting would it be if I could share that humor with others and like the general public, and like let's see if they can stomach it in a way, because like we have no problem, we're not offending anyone, we're the ones having been through it. So it's been really interesting. We had the world premiere of Bad Survivor at the Big Apple Film Festival in Manhattan last year, and I always sit at the very, very back row of the theater because I like to get a sense of how's the audience reacting, and I kind of just like want to look around. I don't need to like see myself on screen really. So it's funny because the first joke, so my main character that I play, also called Alex, she turns to camera and speaks to camera, right? So she is saying all the sort of like naughty thoughts that like I couldn't say in real life in these real situations, right? And the first joke in the theater, everyone, they start like looking at each other and people's like shoulders kind of tense up and they like don't know, like, is it okay to laugh? This girl's bald, she's in treatment. Like, are we supposed to laugh? I don't know what's going on. And then by the second joke, you can hear like chuckling. And by the third joke, it hits. And people are like actually laughing. They loosen up. They normalize the fact that this girl is bald and doesn't have eyebrows and is in treatment and is kind of like addicted to her morphine and like a little bit messed up. They are able to relax and see her as a quote unquote normal or like healthy main character, which I love. Like that truly is the goal for me, is to show that this main character is a main character. A girl with this storyline has so much to say. It's just that maybe in real life, she isn't saying it to you. Let's give her, but let's show her on screen actually saying all the things she can't say out loud.
That sounds like an incredibly cathartic experience, you in the theater.
Yeah.
It sounds so good. That must have been great because it's your experience, but then it's your work that you had to put to bring it onto the screen. It's like,
Also,
just
just
insane.
if you can come to a point where you're laughing with an audience of people about something that was actually traumatic, now that you're on the other side, I just imagine personally that would be cathartic for me. Cailin and I kind of deal with difficult times through humor too.
Yeah.
And so I feel like when it gets to the point where you can like make jokes about it, because that's how people get through things,
Yeah.
you know? You're not joking about the situation, but you're just trying to have brevity in a difficult situation.
Yeah.
You've now told a similar story. You've told it in the short film, and you're also working on a young adult novel based on your experience in Remission. How do you approach storytelling in those two different mediums, going from a short film to a novel?
I have a graphic novel, a full graphic novel about a young girl in cancer treatment being treated at a children's hospital like I was, and the kids in the hospital come alive at night and have an entire fantasy world that helps her cope with her daytime. And it's really all about the mind games we play in order to survive, and basically like how she can possibly get through this terrible time. And yeah, the storytelling of graphic novel also felt really incredibly natural. It's funny, all these different mediums are so cathartic. Again, using the word that you guys have said, it's just been awesome to bring to life this character in a way that's like me, but not me. Like the me I maybe wish I had been, like the me, all the things I couldn't say, all the things I was too scared what people would think if I said out loud, all the things I was maybe too afraid to admit while going through it. It's just been a really incredible experience being able to storytell in these different ways, whether it's like op-eds or articles for publications or graphic novels or for screen. I have just felt, and I don't know if you girls have ever felt this, but it's like when a story is just like moving through you. Pick a medium, I will tell this story through that medium, and I kind of can't wait to share it. It just feels like it really, really very naturally comes alive. And that graphic novel flew out of me. It just was a dream to make and create. So I really can't wait till like we all have it in our hands. I am working on Bad Survivor, the TV series. My real goal is taking the IP of the graphic novel, the proof of concept of the short film into the TV series. I really felt like in order to make Bad Survivor an easy yes from studios and TV execs was going to be like, okay, I'm going to need a physical book that they can hold in their hands with an audience and readership, and I'm going to need them to see this character on screen. I'm going to need to show them that she is somehow, despite everything she's going through and has been through, like full of life, has a lot to say, has a unique voice, and has viewership and an audience. There is a ton of us. We are on Instagram. We are all over the place with this sense of humor. I am not in any way, shape, or form unique to this in any way. I just hope I'm like the vessel to bring this story maybe more eyes, and hopefully able to bring in other survivor and cancer stories, not just my own, to light, and truly with the goal of having someone watch it who's going through it or perhaps about to go through it and maybe doesn't have to feel so alone or so weird or so scared and alone, right? Like, how cool would it have been if when I was going through it and when I was in early survivorship, I don't know if I had seen anyone remotely like me on screen. I just think film and TV is so incredibly powerful. I think it changes culture. I think in an ideal world, Bad Survivor, the TV series, will be able to bring families, friends together to have these conversations, these like really uncomfortable taboo conversations that like we really don't have in cancer treatment, like how to treat your friend in college who's like bald and has cancer, like rather than running away, like, hey, these are some conversations you can have. This is kind of what she might be going through. These are the things she might be thinking of, even if she isn't saying it. And so, yeah, the TV series is really, really top of mind for me at the moment.
Gosh, I feel like that moment where somebody's either sitting in the theater watching a TV show, they have the graphic novel in their hands, and you're able to know that they feel less alone. Like, for me, that would be like almost the completion of the healing process for me. So I see, like, you want to get that in as many different mediums as possible.
I have this vision, because we're New Yorkers, I have this vision of a girl in the subway reading the graphic novel and me just like sitting across from her. She has no idea who I am. And like, I just feel it and like see it. And that is the sole thing that drives me, especially if, you know, and I'm saying all the positives of this storytelling, but it's also can be really difficult to like bring up certain things. And, you know, my port scar where I got chemo will start to like flash with pain. Like it's bizarre, like what the body goes through when you're bringing up really traumatic things, and it's healing in the end, right? But it can be a difficult journey throughout a little bit to kind of stick it out and stick with it. And I just like the vision of this like future girl in the subway reading my graphic novel is genuinely like what pushes me through those maybe harder times or nights, or if I get nightmares or something kind of comes back up that triggers me in some way, which is inevitable. But it's all really worth it. And I totally agree. I think that will be an incredible full circle moment. So can't wait for that.